Now, a movie for real men. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Fuck yeah. Lawnmowers and my dad yelling at me.
Lawnmowers.
Because it's for men.
Yeah.
Wait. That's your definition of men. Lawnmowers and your dad yelling?
Yes. I love men. No, honey, please.
I love men. I don't feel like that came out right either.
Anyway. Who here saw Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1?
Fuck yes!
Oh, all the men and none of the women. Great. Perfect.
Wow, I went to Barbie to support women. Where the hell were you for Tom Cruise?
Wow. Okay, I'm a stupid fan of this franchise. I love these films. I've gone back and I've watched a lot of episodes of the old TV show, and it's crazy to think a formula from the 60s is still working well today.
Yep.
It's kind of turned into Tom Cruise's franchise, but it pretty much always hits the nail on the head. I was excited for this one because it's their first two-parter, although I don't think it intended to come out in a summer full of two-parters. That might have hurt it a little bit. And I know that COVID kind of interrupted the filming in the middle. But yeah,
now we're going to have a writer's strike and an actor's strike interrupt the second part.
Did they not film them back to back?
I think that they're halfway done, or they got a decent amount done, but they're certainly not finished.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yes, so I'll share what I think, but let's just go down the line here. Joey C, what did you think?
I'm also a big fan of Mission Impossible. This fucking movie was awesome. Little side Easter egg. It's the same train and tracks from Indiana Jones. So that's pretty cool. I was actually really shocked at like the stunts that Tom Cruise still does. Like some of the behind the scenes footage of him like riding the motorcycle off the thing and like the jumps between buildings and stuff. That was really cool. The man is 61 years old, people. It's wild. The depth of the double crossing in the movie was so cool. It's like somebody double crosses him and then they double cross them and then they get double crossed. It's really fucking cool. But it's good to see some of the old cast returning in this one, like from the original. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but this movie was kind of like the perfect cinematic movie experience for me, and would totally recommend everybody see it. I can't wait to see it again.
Okay, you, Adam.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as Joey C here. I'd probably put it around the middle mark for Mission Impossible films, but even a middle of the mark Mission Impossible film is freaking awesome. It's another case of the movie's really long. I think it's 2.5 hours. Could have shaved a decent amount of I thought some of the pacing early on was a little awkward. Kind of overstayed its welcome. But then it really starts to find its groove during that kick-ass 25-minute car chase or however long that thing is. This movie franchise also has managed to bring in some of not only the hottest, but just coolest women in movies in a long time. I mean, I can't get over how awesome Pam is in this film as the small little henchman character. She's not in it more than 7 or 8 minutes, and she just owns the spotlight.
I only know her as Mantis from the Marvel movies, so seeing her... seeing her actual face without weird bug eyes, and two, playing a character for me that is against type. I don't know if she's played a similar character before. I thought she was really, really good in it.
Yeah.
But
she's got like a Harley Quinn thing going on.
Yeah.
And Haley Atwell, is that how you say it? Haley Atwell?
Haley Atwell, yeah.
Or Haley Atwell. I don't know. She looks great. She plays a really good kind of pickpocket throughout the film, kind of out of her element, yet she's still kind of keeping up with everyone else. Yeah, the stunts are great. You know what you're going to get. It's like I always say it's a smart version of Fast and the Furious. It's got its fans that are going to go see these movies. It's going to be hard to disappoint us, and this one doesn't.
Yeah. What do you think, Gil?
Yeah, I mean, agreed with all the above. I think the couple things I would call out specifically on the action front, I mean, they really hyped up the stunt of him jumping off the motorcycle. It was almost hyped up so much that in the actual theater seeing it, I wasn't that blown away by it. But the sequence it leads into, I thought was awesome. The kind of Lost World inspired train sequence I thought was great. Also, the villain I thought was really interesting. And I don't know how much I can say about that spoiler wise, but I would just say that it's a villain type that's been done before. But I feel like this was, it felt very relevant and realistic in a way, or more realistic than I know it's hard to say too much without just saying what it is.
We can spoil it a little bit.
Okay.
The villain in this was an AI,
Mm-hmm.
very topical, but it's been done before in science fiction. But I kind of like that it was an AI that was used for like a military purpose that became self-aware.
Mhm.
And it is now it's now trapped at the bottom of the sea. And it knows that it's still vulnerable. If anyone finds that submarine that it sunk, I think it was trying to destroy the submarine to like, stop people from getting into it. It knows it could still be vulnerable. And for some reason it knows, based off his amazing track record, that Tom Cruise is probably the only one who can stop him.
That's right.
So it's manipulating so many world events to stop Tom Cruise. But like, it is supposed to be a soulless computer, but it almost feels like it has like a personality on its own. And it's using like a human henchman who's tied to Ethan Hunt's past.
Yeah, they called it the entity, and you could get drunk off your ass if you played a drinking game every time they said that, because entity and key are said probably 100 times combined. It's pretty obnoxious.
Well, that's one thing I didn't love is that they kept being like, "What is the key open? What is the key?" And it's like, well, we know already.
Yes.
So they keep saying it, and I'm like, I don't want to watch this and feel like I'm smarter or know more than Tom Cruise.
Never.
Because he's supposed to be, the badass in the movie. And just one more thing on the AI, you kind of mentioned it already, Tony, but I feel like if AI were going to be a threat today, it's not going to be, how does it interact with the physical world? It's not going to be by building a bunch of humanoid robots. It's going to be through manipulating people, blackmailing people. And they didn't get into a lot of detail on that concept, but I thought that was pretty cool, pretty interesting.
Yeah. I thought it was really solid. I will agree with you, Adam, though. Not one of my favorite Mission Impossibles. I would put it around like, okay, so I love 2, but I'm very well aware that 2 is the worst one. I almost like it ironically, I guess.
Yeah,
but I'm aware. But like, if we're gonna go like how they're actually good, I would put this around like 3 or Rogue Nation, where I like it a lot, but it's not as good as like 1, 4, or Fallout. I thought Fallout was incredible.
Fallout's great. I like Ghost Protocol quite a bit, maybe more than most.
Yeah, that's my favorite after the first one. I will say, usually the effects are like flawless in these films, or like pretty spot on. But I'm wondering if COVID interfered a little bit, because there was some awkward green screen. Look, the train sequence in the first Mission Impossible is very digital and very bad looking by today's standards, but the train sequence here also didn't look great. Like, you could tell when they were on a train and when they weren't. So that was a little disappointing. A lot of the effects were a little disappointing.
Even the motorcycle thing that one take was pointed out. I don't know if maybe they need to just stop showing the actual stunt and just do lead ups in the trailer. Like, he's going to the mountain, he's going to jump off of it. Go see the movie to find out. Instead, I feel like we get all these behind the scene making ofs, and Tom Cruise does it 18 times or whatever. And then when you finally do see it, you can tell the mountain's not real. They had to digitally, paint one in because there's a big ass ramp. They showed us the ramp. You already lose a little bit of that connection.
I will say, not to shit on Dial of Destiny more than I already have, this movie has a vehicle chase way better than Dial of Destiny. Even though the effects weren't super great, better train scene than Dial of Destiny, better parachute scene. It was crazy that I think like a week or 2 apart, I saw this movie do what that movie failed to do and do it so much better.
Yep.
So that was crazy. There is a death of a major character that I was not ready for and I did not like.
There's no way that's the final nail.
I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's not, because that felt pretty cheap.
It did.
So I'm hoping they circle back there. But no, overall, I think it's great. For whatever reason, it's not doing insanely well at the box office.
Barbenheimer took it out.
Yeah. Well, I think, like I said, apparently there were 2. We knew one, Spider-Verse, was a part 1 of a 2-parter. Apparently, Fast X was also a part 1 of a 2-parter.
It was.
And though, like, Fast X apparently was like sneaky about it. They didn't advertise that, I think. So I think people see part 1 and they're like, you know what? There's a lot of movies out. Maybe I'll watch this before the next one. That's how I feel. But yeah, I think it's solid. If you like Mission Impossible, you're really gonna like it. If you should go see it in the theater. I think it's worth seeing in the theater. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And Mint and Crystal just hate Scientology and anyone who practices it. And
Well, they hate that. I mean, I guess that's about
so they hate. Yeah.
Tony, first of all, I've been watching them. I didn't get to see this one, but I have been watching the Mission Impossible movies. And I gotta say, 2 and 4 are my favorite. I do like hearing that there are trains in this movie because I love trains. And I like the first one for having that train scene. And my MI5 review does come out tomorrow, and I'm going to cover 6 and 7 once 7 is on streaming.
Good.
So
good. It is funny to think. Apparently, they're saying the next one is the last one for the Ethan Hunt character. Because again, this is a series that can continue. All you got to do is come up with a new team. They shouldn't remake Ethan Hunt. They should just continue with another team.
Nobody even calls him Ethan Hunt. We just call him Tom Cruise.
We just call him Tom
Cruise.
The
only franchise where you don't say John McClane. Don't.
But it's funny because people always say like, "Oh, Peter Graves was the star of the old show," and I'm just like, he wasn't even the original star. It was some other guy in the first season. But yeah, the question is, how are they going to replace Ethan Hunt? Because famously at the time, fans of the show hated this. They made the hero from the TV show the bad guy in the first movie. And Peter Graves was so pissed off about it, he refused to come back, so they recast him with Jon Voight. I'm like, I don't know. I think it's going to be really hard if they try to do that again. They're like, this time Tom Cruise is the bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to go with that, which is kind of mean because he did it to the other guy. But yeah, I'm excited to see what part 2 has to offer. They leave some cool things on the table, like the IMF or whatever. They have an analog room where they're tracking stuff with satellites using analog stuff just to get off the entity's radar. So yeah, I'm really, really pumped for that.
Did anybody play the Uncharted games? Because I feel like whoever did
we've talked about this.
One,
I hate the Uncharted games.
Oh, this movie
garbage.
felt like they took 2 or 3 of the video game sections and put them right into this film.
Yeah, they did it better than the actual Uncharted movie. I'll give it that.
Oh yeah, well, we're not talking about the movie. We're not talking about the Uncharted movie. It's trash.